Welcome to the Language of Markets live session. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back those viewing the recording. How we doing? We making it? Always good to wake up every day on this side of the dirt. Now we got a chance to learn something, move, discover, see what's going on in the world. Morning, Phil. All right, today we're going to do a little reading of price and work on our instructional lessons a little bit. Sort of mix and match. I thought Monday was exciting. We're going to start to document the language of price, make families. Haven't figured out quite how we're going to do that yet, but we're going to do it on the fly. I'm thinking we'll do something like come up with all and we'll do it here together. We'll come up with the structures and we'll put them into families, like the outside bar family, the tail family, the expand family, that kind of thing. So you guys keep your attention on that because we're gonna be working on that on the fly. And Edward, we're going to use. I'm still remembering that little tail tribe pattern. That's going to fit in there somewhere also, because it's part of a family too, and we use it often. Yeah, it'll be fun, and we'll document it and we'll keep clarifying for ourselves what we're looking at, learning the language, and just keep becoming more conscious of everything. And if you're new, just remember in Slack, I'll be posting reference charts. Okay, I'll be posting reference charts in session examples. So you might need to add that little channel. And we'll be inventing. And we've done this before. We're going to reinvent them. We'll be inventing the reference charts as we go. So there'll be reference charts for different things. Like we've already put some reference charts in there for pressure cookers. We'll be doing some for price action, process, and all the different things. 3 types of trades, the presses, etc. So we're going to build ourselves a library. We're going to have to figure out how to get this on the site here soon. We'll be making some changes as soon as we catch our breath. So let's start out very simple. And then I want to start out with doing a little reading. I want you guys to do a little reading with me in one of the markets this morning as I trade it. And then we'll work into our lessons. But let's start out pretty simply, because we always want to learn here. Let's start out pretty simply. Pretty simply is just working with swings. And let me follow back what we were doing, because this is going to go into one of our families, and we talked about this possibility of this happening last week. So let me just remind you, we were looking at and so this isn't a thorough lesson in and of itself. It's just sort of, we're just going to keep hitting on it because we see it over and over. We were looking at a market that was diving down and made a change in behavior, right? See, when we beat that leg, we got to the median line, we zoomed the median line, we followed this through, and we had some sort of change in behavior going on. Now, it'd be nice if this change in behavior always ended up in just, let's just buy this one and go the other way, right? That'd be nice. It doesn't always do that, though. That's why we have the 3 types of trades. The push, to keep pushing on down. The expand, meaning we're expanding this leg, and then continue. Or the reversal. Now, this configures itself in a lot of different ways, and there is a particular median line that helps us out with seeing where all these things land. And there is some associated line work as well. And so this particular median line, that's a pullback median line, is a very quick, dirty, quick place to look is up the upper parallel here for the expansion, where you can make it decide if you want to play for these little guys just becoming a big boy swing here. This is all into the minor and the major family. And a lot of times what you'll see is like you'll have a major swing like this. Everybody see how that worked? And this minor, so somewhere over here there'll be this you know, this bigger guy. So now we're actually starting to form this up a little bit. See, somewhere over here will be this bigger guy. And this is also a big clue about changes in behavior, whether it's on a small pivot level or a big level, right? Small pivot level is no different. So I want us all to learn to recognize these things as they happen, because they happen over and over and over. Weekly charts, daily charts, tick charts, 20-minute charts. And so we want to learn to see that, and this can help us tune in to where the expansion might happen. This is where the median line tools work with swings. So I just want to keep working on this, because we're going to specify, not too many things, but we're going to specify certain structures. So let's watch and see how this worked itself out. As you see, we dove down. Now, if you're following swings, and one of the beauties about this one is you just draw off the same pivots, like that. So, if you're following swings on the way up, this was our biggest, baddest swing on the way up. And it broke. And whenever price starts to turn, you just follow it. There. And that's live. So we've done our live work, and you see how the median lines are also doing their thing. Minus all the news and the stuff. And that's a very simple look at this thing. It's a very simple, easy look at this thing. So now we can track and we can follow. And we can even track now. There's a swing here. The swing that got broke. And see how that plays out. Automatically, this might make you a bit nervous because it gives you two choices. Sell it or buy it, right? Well, let's watch and learn and see what happens with this guy. And we can see it. We lift off pretty nice from here. So a lot of times, a market will take off really nice, even though it's going down, and it gets people all excited to get long. They forget that the thing was going down to begin with. That's why we're, watching certain swings. Doesn't mean it won't change. But sometimes this even works itself out so beautifully that it gives you an absolute clue which way it wants to go down in here. So you can see it's probably, if you're looking and reading the bars, right? Read these tails. Boom, boom, swap. Everybody see that? See, now we're just getting a little, see, the swings give us an entryway into things simply. But everybody see the sellers hit it, the sellers hit it, and then we go boom, 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 and took off from here. So this is telling us there's a bit of a mountain right here. There's a bit of a swap. Without knowing one thing to the left, this, and then the 3 bars up through, right? See, it finally gives way. Gives us a pretty good idea of immediate price action. So that's a very simple look at this. So we'll come back to this one. We'll come back to this one. Because there's all sorts of exciting things to look at in a market. I want to see things simply a lot of times. And then I'm going to take us into reading the ES. So, for instance, I was looking at a 20-minute with somebody on this guy, okay? And we were following a 20-minute. I want everybody to see this, minus memorizing too many things. Just get a feel for this. All right, just get a feel for this. So the lines, they're going to help us. We see that, all right, we're swinging, we're swinging, we're swinging, we're swinging, we're swinging, right? They're going to tell us what we're doing there. Okay. And then we can come over here. We're swinging, right? We're swinging, we're swinging, we're swinging, we're swinging, we're swinging. Now, as you look at price right now, let's follow it up. See, I want to elicit, a feeling in here about price. So if you look at this guy now, and we forget about this for a minute. We can see price basically marching on up. We can see that. Price is marching its way on up. See, it's marching, right? Higher highs, higher lows, tails. We have a little swing, right? It's marching. A line will show us it's marching. Now, we can feel the pressure of the buyers here. We know the major swing is down. So let's just take this picture for a minute. We can see it marching. We can see it bunching up. We don't know what it'll do. So there's a whole feeling in this marching. Now what's it feel like? Anybody? And look at that tail, right? But just what's it feel like now? Remember we talked about flowing with change and da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, we can represent it with some lines. And you can see it just sort of crowns up here, right? Edward says it's floaty. But you see, everybody see the marching up is just now turned into marching down? Right? It just now turned into marching down. So there's a feel here. So, like I said, I was trading charts with somebody on this. And as I looked at it right here, I thought, you know what? I could probably just sell this right here, right now. I mean, look at what the market's doing. I could probably just sell this right here, right now. There's a, yeah, right, Stephen, it's a rollover. I'm trying to elicit however, you might feel this. It's distinct, right? It's different. See, it's different than this. See, it's different than this. It's different than this. See, it's a whole rounding, rolling rollover. It's like they just ran into a wall, an impenetrable wall. Yeah, it's a little swap, but it was like they were so happy. See, look, they were so happy. They were marching up. Here it looks like it's going forever. Now it looks like, they can't get out of there, and it's about to just keep doing the same thing it's been doing over and over and over and over. So there's a feel. So I want to get that. I want to understand that. Slope coil gets swapped. Yeah, slope coil gets swapped. This is I don't know if we can add that to the family or not, but I like a zoom one way or the other. Actually, Edward, I think we're going to today. What would that look like in a swing? That would look like this. All right, here's a press. And normally we're looking for the press to expand this way or expand this way. And so instead, now what we're looking at is when it doesn't expand, but it starts to get swapped. Maybe. Let me think about that. Pete says, what importance do you hold the bar closes? Well, just for our price reading, Pete, we've got some definitions. A tail is going to be open and close in the upper third, open and close in the upper third, open and close in the upper third, right? And so a hard up is going to be, open at the bottom, close at the top, or in the thirds, right? So like here you can see a tail followed by a hard down. So this gives us an indication. So as for importance, the importance is, all right, it's letting me know what buyers and sellers are doing. So right now, like, we can just simply look at this like, okay, we have all these tails. We have all these tails, and they're showing us buyers are picking at it. That's what the tails are showing you. If it switches really fast, then it's showing you, oh, they switched really fast. But either way, I see these guys just standing on it. See, tail. Now there's a swap. Notice there's no hard down bars in here. None. Boom. All right. So I don't know about you guys, but I was dead convinced that this thing was going to zero. Okay, I was concerned about the closes toward the top area of the bars. Don't get too crazy about it. We've done some definitions, and I pretty much just pay attention to those definitions. I want things that stand out. All right, so a lot of these bars are going to be meaningless to me no matter where they close, Pete. But we have a few price actions that we like to look at, whether it's tails. And we'll be going back through some of those lessons. Hard up, outside bars, gaps. So we have a few basic guys we're going to look at that we've defined because they're representing some piece of support supply-demand information that is relevant. And then not only that, Pete, we look at these also where they happen. You know, what part of the swing are they happening? See, are we down in clean air when they're happening? But there's whole lessons on just watching tails that are pointing up to all of a sudden tails that are pointing down. It takes some practice, and we'll be doing that. But for now, we're just paying attention to a few different price axes, not too many. And so a lot of this stuff gets eliminated. You know, we'll pay attention to a gap when we see it. We can combine hard up and hard down to make one tail. Phil says this is what you talked about on Monday, hard up and hard down at 1300. If you say so. I forgot what I talked about 5 minutes ago, Phil. But I think I remember, yeah. But we use it, right? So rather than pay too much of attention to how important the close is, because it's a time frame. I mean, it's limited. We're looking at the supply-demand. We're looking at effort. Effort gets reversed or effort continues. So we're looking at effort. That's the whole point of this, is looking at effort. So a lot of these will get ignored unless they start to stick out or something sticks out. So right here, that sticks out. Why? Because it just rolled over. I mean, it looked, is it just me? Or did it look like you can just hop on this thing now and, you know, write it down some more? Maybe I'm the only one. It looked like you could just hop on it. So I love it when I get surprised. It looked like I could just sell it with abandon and hop on it right here. And I can see them. I can just ride these guys, right? I could just ride these guys. See, none of these bars are that exciting, but watch, Pete. You see that one stick out? It's a gap. It's definable. It's a wide range bar, bigger than the last three bars, with a space between the two. You see how that sticks out, Pete? Out of all this? Oh, okay. Pay attention. And then we usually mark the bottom of a gap. But I'm not doing that in isolation here. I'm saying, okay, we have a gap, but look at this. Zoom. What got zoomed? Look at them just stand. See, right here, they're marching up. But did they really mess with the high? No. See, we're reading now. Right here, they're marching up. It looks beautiful. All those sellers, right? Did they really mess with this little high here? No, they poked it. Okay, now they're marching down. Did they mess with the low? So this is the guy we're kind of looking at, because this is where it seems that they decided one way or the other, okay? So, no. They're marching down. No. And then all of a sudden, whoosh, oh. And so I'm explaining this in ways that it's just quite simple, because it looked like it should just keep screaming down. I mean, just follow it. It just wants to go screaming down. Now, I don't know how high this might go or whatever, but for me, this is a very easy place to get long without thinking about anything else. 3 to 1, It's a very easy place to get long, or at least start to consider. And that's current. And so I want us to see simple things like that. Effort reversed. On top of that, right, this can clue us in. Did we beat the blue? Yes, we beat the blue. Buyers definitely won that arm. Exactly, Grace. This was a particular... See how this structure is just funny. And it was an arm wrestle. All right? So this isn't exactly a instructional, objective follow the numbers lesson. This is, look at where they tried. Tried their little butts off. And then what happened next? Whoom. I got to tell you, that makes very easy, at least immediate entry for something like this. Now, might this expand and roll? Of course it might. But that makes that a very easy, immediate entry. It's so easy. And when we learn that, we can expand this into a bigger chart or use it as a confirmation entry. And just spotting that, right? Without doing a whole lot of work, just spotting that effort. And that's what all this is about. It's about showing us where effort is made. That's why we only have, it's about showing us effort, one way or the other. And so this I can classify into like a press that expands this way, can't I? It's pretty close, fits that model. It's pretty close, on a bar level. A press that instead of expanding down, expands up and takes the whole press out. See, I can teach it that way. And it's the same thing. See? And a press is trying to get across a certain type of market behavior, right? It's like they're just marching it with they got an agenda. They're determined. And it's different than just normal swings or normal back and forth baits. It's like they're just marching it. And now this is a press up followed by a press down. And who wins? These guys. So I don't know, maybe we call this press up, press down. We're making up stuff now, right? But once we start to learn the language, I just want people to see maybe you had to be there and say, and be just an inch away from selling this thing. Because, for quite a long time, it's just been going down. So maybe, you had to be there an inch away from selling this thing. But everybody should see that this action is different than other actions. It's just representing buyers and sellers. And this is really a visual thing that can, help you feel your way. It's still just buyers and sellers and what they're doing. The visual is trying to show you the type of buying and selling they're doing, right? They got the buyers long, shook them out. Others got short, shook them out. Yeah, and it's all right here, and it comes out a certain way. This is an expression. It's a communication, and that's what we're trying to learn. And then this just opens things up and says, get your orders ready. So this would have been, to sell this, right, would have been like a continued behavior, a type 2, or a type 3. It all fits. But I just want you to see that effort that gets put in. And then that way, when you see where the bodies are buried, and price comes diving down, you know where you got some friends. And you know where you can hide stops underneath those friends. And look, I don't need but a new high here to get me to 3-to-1. Shooting fish in a barrel when you see it this way, right, Phil? And so maybe you have to wait a while before you see this easy. But if you were like if you were like selling all of these, okay, in some form, that's the same thing as, selling that. And it's working out for you. So that's a continued behavior. You just keep selling and selling and selling. And then price expands down. And I want everybody to see that the decision was made and telegraphed right here in this chart about, even considering a long, or at least not getting short one way or the other. So this is just a tiny little example of things. Of course, the whole flow is still down and we can roll over, but you know what? We found a really solid area, which, if this long doesn't take, this will be a solid area that we know people are doing things, because we don't know what's on people's mind. We have to look and see where they're staking their claims. And so this is reading a market. This is reading a market. All right, so now let me take you into another kind of reading, day trading. I want everybody to learn to do this. And all I'm going to use here is what we're learning currently. Swings and presses. So this is what I'm doing this morning. I watched the ES yesterday, and this is what I'm doing this morning as the ES is coming in to do its things, okay? So let's get down here to this morning. No, we're not going to do reading like Miss Chloe. We're going to get price to tell a story here. We're going to read the story, and then we're going to look at it simply afterwards. And what I want to see, what I want to happen is to see that the things we're doing are applicable. Each day you learn something about swings, you learn something about presses, you learn to make distinctions. You can apply them in your markets and learn. It's the same stuff I'm using, right? There's still a matter of relaxing and connecting, but we all need to work on that. So as I come into a market here today, I'm not worried about all this, and I'm not worried about the news, and I'm not worried about the trade wars or anything else. That's the most important for all of us, Edward, right? To be curious. That, especially when we're fearful, be curious. That stops it in its tracks. So I'm looking at swings. Okay, boom. This is all kind of like one structure for me here. So I'm saying, it's doing its thing. That's my blue swing. I have a definition. What is the major swing? The major swing equals the biggest reaction leg. A swing is a confirmed high because we made a new low. So that's my biggest reaction leg. Now, as I come in here, I'm watching price. And it never fails with markets. And I think this is where so many of us get in trouble. And I'm going to highlight some point here where a lot of us continually get into trouble. So the market's looking rather juicy here, isn't it? It looks like it's turning. It looks like, oh boy, hooray. Now read this with me. If you're here, so read this with me. You're following the market down. And oh, look, there's that outside bar, Pete. Remember, we're looking at weird things like outside bars. There's that outside bar. That's telling me there's effort. that got banged. That's a big deal. I have a solid marker. Nice and solid. Everybody sees that, right? Hard down. They tried to pick it up here. Boom. So we're going to read this, right, Adam? We're going to read this. And this really sticks out. Okay, we turn up, and we're right back with these guys. We hover, triple tops. We poke, hard down. So sellers are here, and we can even now fine-tune them a little bit. This is where they poke their head up. Sellers are here. New low. See, we're swinging. We're swinging. Boom. Ah, that was simple. Now, just because we can see this outside bar, we now have a solid marking. Just because we can see these swings, we now have a solid marking. This is my reading. All right, this is my reading. Okay, we're testing. I know we're testing these guys. Zoom. See that? We just swapped. And I think this is where a lot of people get into trouble if they don't understand the market, because you'll be in here, I don't know, some big old data like this, have a definite opinion that this market should be going up, ignore everything else, and say, that's a good setup. I'm going to get long. Okay. And I get into trouble here too. What's the problem? I'm trying to get this across because it's something that when we understand it, we can use it. Once you get what I'm talking about, we can use it. It has to do with that pound. It has to do with when price is doing this, and then every time it gets a little juicy, every time it gets a little juicy with a change, and it looks like, you know, as Grace said, oh yeah, and we're in here buying each one of these, trying to draw this so it lands where it needs to land. See, this is kind of like the pound, okay? Then we get so excited, and we're buying that. But the swings are down, right, Adam? This is a major into minor kind of an idea here. And these little things, although they're swaps, watch. If I just go like this, every single time there's a pivot, there is some little swap going on. It has to happen. Every pivot, whether it's down or up, there is a little swap going on. So if you always use this little swap to try and get long, boom, you're going to, on that try, you're going to get in trouble. If you always use this little swap to try and get long when this never did anything, you're going to get in trouble. This is why I always say, what happens afterwards? Now, if you want to scalp this, sure. But remember, this is my swing. And so this, look at how this gets everybody going one way. And then all of a sudden, it's, yay! See that? But it's just running into this. Done more. Yeah, I still do it. And it's so prevalent everywhere. That's why I'm kind of going over it. It's It's the constant. It's the constant trying to sell this for a reversal. It's the constant trying to sell this for a reversal. Just because there's a little bitty swap going on. It's a constant that. And as we go over, the three types of trades in the try, we'll understand it. And so let's just use swings here. And we can see a press. Right? We can see a press going on. See the press and the expand? So we can just come in here and, see the press and see the expand. This has to be tightened up a little bit, I think, but it's not bad. I like to come right off the expand here, at least. Sometimes, Edward, there's a room for a 3-to-1. But sometimes we get stubborn, don't take the 3-to-1, and hang with it over and over and over and over again through a loss. Right, Grace? Sometimes. Sometimes we get a good entry and hang. Don't even grab a 3-to-1 that might be sitting there. We all like that reversal for some reason. And yes, we have plans to protect this when we get stupid, and we'll be doing those sessions. So let's just watch this. I'll show you what I see. Now, I want to see price telling a story. So the first part of the story, I'm going to do this in steps. Price turned So it's good that you guys, see what I do real and messy in my trading room and all that. Price turns down at blue reaction leg. Because this is a story. And we see it. Okay? We see it. It's a story. Price turns down at blue reaction leg. And we can pretty much see that it's trying to slice through this guy in some way. All right. So now what we're looking at, watch, what we're looking at now is if I come back over here, literally, we're at this level. Does everybody get it? Minus the noise, we're at that level of a try in here. All right? It's making lower lows, lower lows. It's making lower lows. All right, we're at this level of price trying, right? Right in here. So we watch. Okay, there's our solid buyers. Notice we went right through that puppy. Right through it. So there's our solid buyers. So let's just look at swings now. Ah, they're hitting it. Now, do you see here that price is now going ahead and trying for that reversal? That's where price is right now. See, that was a solid swap area. All right, we're testing them again. We're hovering. We're testing. See, this whole area right here is price. See, I'm trying to get this story across. This whole area right here, minus the noise, is price bunching up and trying to go ahead and switch. It just hasn't yet. So keep following with me. See, it's pulling up at this area. We don't know. Look, we can do this very simply. We can see it's bunching up right there. It's trying in here. It's trying. Now we're at this point. So you see the second part of the story, right? See, that's the second part of the story. So we tried, and now we have a zoom. So we're right there, right? We gave it a shot and said, nope, we're not going to do it. This, right, you can draw a line in here. This is where, you're drawing maybe a median line and, hoping and praying, and gives you Hagopian. Same thing. See, this is the line. It tried. And now they're stretching. Now, can you follow the swings now? Can you follow the swings on the way down? Do we have a swing now? See, follow. See, we have a swing now. We have a swing now. Looks like even about like that. So we have a swing now. Now this, to me, is a beautiful, easy, what I call a first pullback entry using swings. Very easy. And do you guys see why I would find this an easy sell? Besides, right? And then do you also see the struggle of trying to always buy this guy when it's just reached its thing there? But do you see now that I'm reading the story, it's like, oh, okay. And we could draw median lines. Boom. We could draw a line on down. So now we have a little bit more of a frame. But there's a reason besides the setup that makes this an easy trade. Right here. Because of the story price is telling us. And we see it, all of a sudden we get these gaps and everything. And that makes that a very easy trade. Right in there. Now let's keep following. Now what do we see in price? A press, right? A swing level press. One way or another, there's a swing level press in here. And that's what our lessons are supposed to be on. It's a distinction where we have two same size reaction legs that pull back into one another, and then an expansion down, a bigger impulse leg. So does everybody see that the screwing around is now done, and now everybody is... See, this is a lot of sitting around in the morning. This was, I like to call the tell. Busting this try is the tell. You'll see this is also a pressure cooker of some sorts. But busting that try was the tell as to whether this market was going to go up or whether it was going to go down. Do you see that there's a tell that it told us whether it was going to go up? Right here. We don't really know for sure other than it is flowing down. But when we bust that try like that, it's like, oh, now we're just rolling. Let's keep following. Now, do you notice price is in a different character now? Nobody's thinking. Nobody. They're just get me out, get me in. Do you see? It's moving fast. Clean air. I love this. If nothing else, I will wait for just this in my life sometimes. See, it's different than this, right? They got this clean air. It's not even a press. It's just get hard downs. Get me out, get me out, get me out. No prediction other than I'm at, a modified shift lower parallel. Remember we said pay attention to the lower and upper parallels. They're just coming out of it. There is no messing around about this. They stall a little bit. Expand. Now what do we have? All right, now we're at a bar level press. And a bar level press is just when they're doing this kind of a thing, when they're doing this kind of a straight down. It's different than that marching we were looking at. This is everybody run for the exits. And then it bunches. And then expands. So we can see it's a different flavor. We're just reading now. Don't try to memorize everything. We're just reading. See, these little patterns are so we can get the flavor on our palate of these buyers and sellers, right? This is one flavor. This is another flavor. It slows down. This is another flavor. I can't take it anymore. Right? This is stall for a little bit and hard down. The last bar is bigger than the few previous bars. Yeah, see, it's a wide range bar. It's a bigger boom. So now you have a solid place. Now they're back here. Look at them reverse that. Whew. Again, every pivot is going to have some kind of a swap in here. So we're looking. Is that a possible trade there? Boom. Now, forgetting about our markings, guess what everybody's feeling again in the ES? Emboldened. Why? I don't know. Oh, look, there's a reversal bar or some crap. There's a big mountain or some crap. There's a big, make up your own version of crap. And now, just looking at that, you feel emboldened. Exuberance, irrational exuberance. You'll be our Greenspan, Gracie. Irrational exuberance. Buy, gonna miss it, right? So now everybody's flipped. And even if you're not buying here, Stephen, right, what might you be doing? Maybe I'll get long here. You see? Isn't that the same situation you might have been in if you got long here? I don't mind sometimes taking a little short con one. But, unless it beats this blue, remember, what happens afterwards is what we want to pay attention to. So here's some more of the story here. Let's keep putting the story down so we understand where we're at, no matter how excited. Because, there's money to be made and lost in all of this. It's exciting. It's a drama. So here we have a 3. Swing level press. After lows. And expand down. See? That's 3. And here we have a 4. And yes, I do even write this on my chart as I'm watching the market because it keeps me in touch with the story. 4. Because there's quite a lot to this, actually. It's a screenplay. 5. Zoom. Bar level press. And retest. Turn up. Does anybody see how Act 6 is about to unfold? So as the price turns, right? Anybody see how Act 6 is about to unfold? And so it's good to, I'm going to show this simply in a minute, but it's good that we see the story here. All right? It's good that we see the story here. So, yeah, see, now everybody's juiced for a turn, especially if they're biased or they're, watching Congress or trade wars or whatever news happens to be the fad right now. I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's all different. There's usually something driving things that everybody's paying attention to. I heard something about the debt ceiling the other day, so maybe that's it. I don't know why they call it a debt ceiling, because I have not seen a ceiling yet. Just haven't. So they should call it something else. Grace says, I thought about a sell but hesitated. Right? That's okay. More importantly, I'm trying to get at the root of what has frigged traders up for a lifetime. And so it's like, yeah, right? It's like nobody wants to take a risk anywhere like this. Boom. Does everybody see where it did that same little try and then just said oomph? See? Everybody see that? It did one here too, but it hadn't broken any lows. But look, if you're reading the mountain, crash, boom. Look at these trades. Look at these. Okay, Grace, I'm with you, right? It's a little scary up here. I bet you'll find a way to be scared here too. Me too. I like Grace. She's open. She lets me pick on her a little bit, right? She's saying what all of us do, including me. And so, we want to see these things. See, it's these swings, right? Same thing. This is that try. And then if you ain't sure, boom, 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 boom. And so that's actually reading price. And we could have done it with a lot of ways. And I'm trying to use swings and simple reaction legs and presses as a way for us to see and feel buyers and sellers. Yeah, a million ways to be scared. Pick one. I'm going to quote that one. We'll put that one in the glossary. There's a million. We pick one, whichever one happens to be convenient at the time, right? Now let's look at this simply with things we've been doing. Swing. It's about yay big. Swing. It's about yay big. As we come off of the swing, we follow. It's about yay big. Swing. It's about yay big. As we come off of the swing, we follow. It's about yay big. It's about yay big. It's about yay big. And who knows, maybe this one will be the same. And so we can see how we can simply just see the wave of this thing. But how many of us, all right, how many of us see this little pop right here and want to get long? How many of us see this little pop right here and want to get long? And it's a typical thing that happens with a minor into major kind of a thing. Yeah, me too. I mean, it's normal. It's normal. For some reason, that immediate thing really gets us. And sometimes it's appropriate, okay? Sometimes it's not. But if we have a million ways to be scared. If we can just pick something that's very objective and truthful, a lot of times truth, actually, if you get truth, truth will always dissipate fear. It does. And so, we keep coming back to truth. We keep coming back to truth. See, this is the market's truth. No matter how many times you think this thing should go. And we pick a lot of ways to be scared, and if we want to get long, we pick a lot of reasons to be long. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and then every time it goes bump, we buy it. And every time it goes bump, we buy it. And every time it goes bump, we buy it. And then one day, if you ever get this, you go bump the other way with it. That's what happens. So if we ever get this, we go bump the other way with it. And so these tools, these frameworks, are really just about getting us to see buyers, sellers, where hard effort is made. And then we can work into the choices. We have very simple things, like gaps even. Very simple things. And they become very solid markers. People get confused when markets go into a transition. Right? They're going up. But if you're following it, okay, if you're following it, you'll see that, okay, maybe we're making swings like this on the way up. Okay, it's trying. Okay, now look what we're doing, right? Now we're going down. If you get stuck on the way up, you never see anything for the way down. And remember, these tools are not just a system. All right? They're not just a system. They're about us getting a feel for buyers and sellers. Let's look at this live without doing too much. All right? Let's just look at this the same way we looked at that other one. Do you guys see an effort reversed? We're not going to get too complicated here, but we're going to look at this thing. This looked really funky last night, and then boom. And then look at these solid sellers, and then boom, and then up through. right? We want to see these things in a market. And then we can say, all right, what's the swing? Then we can dice out the swings. We can figure out the swings in a market. And we should be able to grab any chart and do that. And I don't care if you want to pick that frame, pick that frame. You want to pick this frame? Pick this frame. If you want to work with just this frame, let's work with just this frame for a minute. That's my biggest. That's my next biggest. Red got beat. Blue got beat. Let's look at what it looks like going the other way. There. I'm all set up with truth. Just like that. All right? Just with swings. I'm all set up with truth, just with swings. All right? And if it switches, I'll switch. Other than that, I'm going up with it. It ain't going down no more. It's going up. If it goes down, then I'll go down. But right now, it's up. I'm not at the point for a 3-to-1 trade, but it is that simple. It is that simple. So let's take the last bit of this lesson and we still need to do our presses. And make a reminder about presses so that we can go practice. And I think I'm going to add another animal to our thing. So let's take the last bit and just do a quick review. We're paying attention to two major things this week. Major swings, minor swings, and following them, and presses. So a swing level press, and then we need to go over this in more depth, probably on Friday. A swing level press is going to be two swings that pull back into each other. All right? So we want to learn to recognize this. Two confirmed swings that are the same size that pull back into each other. A bar level press, and then expand. That's what the red is. A bar level press are going to be bars that pull back into each other and then expand. Okay? The thing about getting too excited with bars is that sometimes the bars will do their thing and pop like this and get us excited, and it's just running into a major press, which is exactly what the ES did. Did you guys see that? Right? It's exactly what the ES did. A bar level press ran right into, so this is such a beautiful example, a swing level press. So if we went like this, and we have a swing level press, which then turned into Right, there's the expand. And it's this kind of repetition that helps us to keep seeing this thing. It's messing my chart up. It's really getting excited now. Hey, why don't you guys quit selling that for a minute? Keep making new lows. And then we bunched up. Expanded. I'm just trying to help us recognize these things. And I'll make this one dotted since it's a more of a minor deal. Make this one dotted since it's not as important. I don't want to hurt its feelings, but it's not as important. It's got its own importance right here. So I'm drawing this out because you know what? It needs to go into our little family. And then they get excited in here. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with this trade, provided you start moving stops to go through this and you don't hang on through the end. But this is a deep understanding of what you want to get about price, okay? So when it comes back, it's all in the what got zoomed, what happened after category. This helps us put together our swings and everything else for trade. And you have a pressure cooker too. Yes, absolutely. And sometimes it gives you a nice set of different entries. And so when you look at this, sometimes it really helps bring things together. If you can read at this level and realize you're going to have little pivot swaps here. You can play them, but realize you might want to be moving closer as you get up here, or at least break even. And then realize you might want to use this more as a bump gift, or wait for it to break, or let something bust. See, this is a beautiful setup. Not here, here. And this is just marking things, letting price tell us what to do. That's all. And see this kind of dive? This is the kind of thing that's going to lead into another one of these. See? It's the same thing. It's people saying, oh crap, never mind. Get me out. I promise I won't do that again. You can see we started to do a press here, but we never expanded, and we never expanded that way. And so we're reading price to not just predict, to tell us what to do. We can read our median lines the same way if we look at how price interacts with the median lines. And so now we have a marker for the ES, and we get down here, and you'll see this thing. It looks like it just got stuck. What happened? What did they do? They just get confused? My data go? No. I don't know. They changed their mind? Oh, the day session ended. Thank you. No, it didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4:15. Yeah, you're right. Oh, that was the plow into the end of the 4:15. Gotcha. Boom. Thank you, Edward. I was wondering what happened there. We just died. All right. So that's a swing level press. That's a bar level press. We added this little animal. I'm going to go back over these. I want to just keep reviewing. Swings that pull back into each other, that don't expand down, but expand up. So these are a few of our animals. We're on the beagle. And at a bar level, that's going to look a certain way. So instead of expanding down, we're going to expand up. Now, I'm thinking about adding one more. HMS Beagle, thank you. I'm thinking about adding one more, and that's a situation where prices make a press, all right? And they don't really expand up or down, but just open back up into the press. Everybody get my meaning here? We see this a lot. And so it's something we're going to study. So at a swing level, think about what that would look like. Price is doing like this. Price is doing like this, right? And so it's going to fit the definition of same size swings that pull back into each other. The only difference is going to be that there's no expand down and there's no expand up. The expand up has to zoom the press. Otherwise, it's not an expand up. All right? It has to zoom the whole press. It has to zoom these two swings as if this is a swing high. Mankind always prefers more to less, so please let's have one more. Yeah, one more. You're right there, Adam. You're hitting on all of our human weaknesses, aren't you? Don't go getting too deep on me now. I can't handle it. Don't want the ASCPA after you. It's bad enough the old ladies in wheelchairs. Who's the ASCPA? I don't even know. Is that the Old Lady in Wheelchair Association? Oh, SPA. Okay, gotcha. No, I don't want those guys after me. No, not for sure. No. I take it all back. Those guys are mean. I don't want those guys after me at all. Forget it. Those guys are vigilantes. No way. So, I want to look at this. And so you can see, this is what I was looking at last night. See the pressing? But it doesn't really expand. But it still gives me a nice solid area. It still gives me a nice solid area. So I'll put all of these into more detail in the coming sessions. And then we'll look at the 3 types of trades. Yeah, I'm glad we're doing this too. This one, Edward, we did in another light when we were just following one line, okay? And so I'm kind of adding things because this one's got some specialties to it, all right, that are kind of cool. So it's basically following the last two. It's basically following the last two swings. So you're literally doing a P0 to 4 count on a rolling term, not following anything but the last two same size swings. And very often, all right, very often, where this guy lands will be connected to, we'll number these like we did those sessions, will be connected to that anchor. And so I thought we'll include this because a lot of times where this guy lands will be connected to that anchor right there. See that? So this will let me introduce some line work into the mix. I don't know if you guys remember those lessons. If you're new, you didn't see them, but we're going to go into that line work with this particular animal. It's very interesting. And not only that, and there's more. If this thing is going to be picked up at the try, it'll be there. So you can see that animal is going to lead into some things. Yeah, you follow that animal. And there's some cool median line stuff we can learn from this. So if this guy's going to be picked up at the try, we can do some interesting things with this line work, as well as at the bottom to think about a little bar level swap down here to get long up into here. So this little animal is going to let me stretch my legs a little bit. And we did some of that a while back, so it's good to let that open up again. All right? It's good to let that open up again. And the reason I like drawing lines on this is because it's such organized harmonic behavior. All right? It's not just all over the place, and it's very projectable in every direction. In every direction. So we'll take another picture of that. So we're going to add that animal. The line work will come later on. All right? But it will let us do lines. So everybody get this? There's no expansion down, no expansion up. It's kind of pre-expansion, one way or the other. But I can tell you this, it becomes a very solid point for buyers and sellers, right? You see them press it down, and then woof, and now it's swinging. See, now we can follow this market without pulling a Miss Chloe, without trying to predict. It's all the prediction. That's why I get afraid about doing some of this line work. There's some prediction in it, although it's pretty good. I get afraid about doing it because the prediction is what makes us as nervous as a cat. It's what brings on the fear. Because then we have to protect right or wrong. You know, we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to be wrong. And so the prediction, we don't even be wrong to ourselves. We don't want to admit it. And so the prediction always puts us on a path of worrying about being right or wrong rather than just following. Yeah, and the modified shift stuff works good with that too. Yeah, the warning line on the other side. So we'll open that up. So if you just pay attention to this, and then we'll clean it up. We'll make a reference chart. So just a reminder, all we're doing is working with swings up and down right now and these little press animals. And they're really just there to teach us, you know, how price is behaving, the different flavors of the different kinds of flow. This is one kind of flow. This is one kind of flow, right? You see it? It's like, I'm thinking about it, I want to. Never mind. Okay? It's different. And then you have that grinding. That grinding we looked at in what? Euro odd, right? It's a different flavor. And the more you you soak up those flavors, the more you come to the chart and you're not just getting used by the tools. And it takes time. It takes time. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep working on that. It's the language, and we'll keep documenting. So I'm going to wrap it up there. We'll come back Friday and try to get on board with these press lessons again. But hopefully the ES read was interesting. I want you guys to see price is telling a story. Right? Understand the story. You see a little bit about what I see in here. And, you know, there was a very serious lesson about these little pivots just running into majors. I got to open that up some more. Thank you, Phil, Edward, Stephen. Appreciate that. Now that we know how to recognize, now we can go practice and keep observing. Practice and keep observing, and then flow with price, whichever way it happens to be going. So we'll see you guys on Friday. Take care.